that's another area where we need to work. We see that payments are met very well in many regions, but in other areas there is a culture where defaults are high, and these defaults have affected our programs. Please help us to think how we can actually overcome this attitude which basically leads to defaults. Something else I want to talk about is reporting people. We have a new law, and we are bringing relief to those people who have been reported because of non-payment. And interest rates are also a problem. At the end of 2007 and 2008, the microcredit rate went up. And we do not have a formal ceiling for usury rates, and the usury rates right now in Colombia are 32%. And finally, the institutions tend to follow that ceiling, and we need to add 7 more points for commission because of the administration cost for microcredit. So we're talking about 39 points. This is a very high rate, and that worries me. The reference rate of the Colombian bank is at 5 points, and the interest rate for CDs is about 6%. The interest rate for credits for the large corporations is 6 DTF points plus 4, and commercial credit is 22 points, and microcredit rate is 32 plus 7 for the commission, for a total of 39. And certain important institutions in Colombia are still saying this is not enough in order to be able to reach the poorest sectors of the Colombian population. One of the topics of Bank of Opportunities is that the state has been giving subsidies so as to help those banking correspondents and for the fund of guarantee. So the state has displayed a big effort, but perhaps we need to create another fund to be able to make additional payments and help bring down the interest rates, especially for those loans that are under 500,000 pesos, which are approximately $250. But given this high interest level, plus the commission, the state would still need to pay additional points to be able to reach these sectors in a more massive way. And we have lack of regional balance. One sees great numeric progress in microcredit in Colombia, but when we examine microcredit regionally, we see areas that have made a great deal of progress and cities that have made a great deal of progress. And when we're talking about cities, we must talk about city divisions. There are areas in the city which have made great progress and areas in the city which have not made any progress. In some departments, we've done very well, but in some areas, the municipalities are doing well and the larger cities are doing okay. So we need to even out this lack of regional balance, and this is certainly one of the challenges that we have, so that we can make microcredit be at a higher level on an even basis. And we think this is a great solution for the economic crisis. In Colombia, there is not much space to be able to finance anti-cyclical policies, and if this crisis goes on for too long, the tax situation will become complicated for us. We have improved our deficit and our debt situation, but we don't have a lot of margin for action. We don't have a lot of anti-cyclical measures if this crisis were to prolong itself for very long. I think microcredit would be the best solution at the lowest cost. If we all display an effort in microcredit, this will mean we will be working for the best possible solution at the lowest tax cost. If you were to ask me, and from the point of view of the income and revenue and expenditure of the government, I would think that microcredit would be the best solution from a tax point of view. But to solve the problems that we have in microcredit, it will be less expensive to get to people, to give people credit. It is really microcredit the fastest channel where we can see the fastest effects between supply and demand. And this improvement of supply and demand and a good ratio between supply and demand will help us overcome this crisis. And we have a problem. Oftentimes, our entrepreneurs complain about the lack of venture capital. There is efforts being made in that direction, but not enough efforts have been made. Almost 4 million Colombians have microcredit. 1,900,000 for the first time are receiving credit. Many institutions need to be applauded, need to be congratulated because of the work they're doing with microcredit, but the things that remain to be done are still many. So, Professor Junis, I have tried to describe the good things we have done and the things that have not been so good. I felt accountable to you. We are very, very happy that you're back in Colombia. You are a great example, not only for Colombia, but for the world. We quote you on a daily basis. We think about following your example when we meet with the Bank of Opportunities. I want you to know, Professor Junis, that we're dedicating ourselves to this topic with a great deal of devotion because we must give ourselves to this topic to try and overcome the difficulties. Once again, I want to say we are honored by the presence of you and all our other guests. Thank you, President Toledo. You have been a friend of Colombia since you were president of Peru, ever since you were working or studying at Stanford University. You've been a great support to Colombia for international relationships. You have supported us a great deal in the achievement of the FTA, working with the American government for that, and Sam Daly. Thank you so much for being here, for addressing us, for giving us ideas, and thank you all of you for being present at this summit.
Llegamos de esta forma.
This way, we get to the end of the direct transmission to the institutional channel with the technical services of Telecaribe of the inauguration of the 23rd Regional Summit for Microfinances for Latin America and the Caribbean. Thank you very much for your attention.